Hello everyone, I am Gilbert Hinge, Assistant Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Assam Downtown University. So welcome to this lecture. This lecture is more of a research-based topic titled Soil, Carbon and Climate Change. Although it's a research-based topic, I will try to talk only on the basic fundamental of this concept, on how they are related, so that everyone can follow what I am trying to explain in this lecture. So here is the content for this lecture. I will start by explaining what is the difference between climate and weather. Then I will move into the concept of greenhouse effect and global warming. Once these concepts are clear, I will then explain how they are related. That is, how climate change occurs as a result of global warming. And then we can talk about how soil can act as one of the potential solutions to slow down climate change. So, what is the difference between weather and climate? So these two words are very familiar to you. We hear about weather and climate all of the time. For most of us, check the local weather forecast to plan our days. And climate change is a hot topic in the news nowadays. So what is the difference between these two? So when you talk about weather is what you see outside on any particular day. Say, it may be 35 degrees and sunny, or it may be 20 degrees with heavy rain. So that's the weather for you. So what you see on a particular day, that is a weather. However, when you talk about climate is the average of the weather in a particular place for a long duration of time. So to study climate, we generally study precipitation and temperature in a particular area for more than 30 years. So the graph here you see, here is the minimum and maximum temperature in a particular place in Guwahati called Amingao in the year 1970-2014. So this is one of the climate change study. So that's what is the difference between weather and climate. So weather is of a particular day, whereas climate is a long-term duration of weather. So I hope you are clear with this concept. Now moving to the next topic, greenhouse effect. So this topic must be well known to you from your class 9 or class 10. So we know that Earth is the only planet that have diversity of life form on it, while the other planets are either scorching hot or too cold, while Earth has a relative stable temperature in which various life forms can sustain on it. So what makes the Earth the only planet favorable for many life forms to sustain on it? So this has to deal with the phenomena called the greenhouse effect. So what is greenhouse effect? As you can see from this picture, so Earth is constantly bombarded with enormous amount of radiation from the sun, which we receive either in the form of light and heat energy. So this radiation comes in the form of visible, ultraviolet and infrared rays. So these rays have to pass first from the atmosphere before reaching the Earth's surface. So we all know about the ozone layer. So the ozone layer, which is present in the Earth's atmosphere, it blocks some amount of the harmful ultraviolet rays from reaching the Earth from the sun. However, out of the remaining rays that are able to penetrate to the Earth's surface, some part of it are being absorbed by the Earth, as you can see in this picture, while some are being reflected, especially the infrared rays, into the space. But some gases present in the atmosphere trap this heat radiation and re-emit them to the atmosphere, to the surface, which lead to the heating up of the environment. So this exchange of incoming and outgoing radiation that warm the Earth's surface is known as the greenhouse effect. And the gases responsible for this greenhouse effect are called as greenhouse gases, which mainly include this carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, nitrous oxide, and other gases. So as I've said in the previous slide, that greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, these gases, they trap the long-wave radiation and maintain the Earth's temperature, which is required for all life forms to sustain on Earth. However, according to the IPCC report, IPCC stands for Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. It is an intergovernmental body which is dealing with providing information about climate change, its impact and all. It says that prior to 1970, that is prior to Industrial Revolution, the amount of some of the greenhouse gases, save carbon dioxide, it was just 280 parts per million. However, in 2014, it has risen up to 399.5 parts per million. And in the recent days, this level has further risen up. Likewise for the other greenhouse gases. So because of this risen up of this level of these greenhouse gases, this lead to rising of the Earth's average temperature, which is nothing but global warming. Global warming is the ongoing rise of the average Earth temperature of the Earth's climate. So as a result of this, it affects the pattern and intensity of rainfall. You can see drought and it's happening in many places. Likewise, flood is happening in many places. Then there's a depletion of snow and ice cover, rising of sea level. So these events are happening in real time in many places. So out of these greenhouse gases, around 72% of the total greenhouse gases emitted is carbon dioxide, according to one of the famous researcher, Berman. Also, there is a clear link between the rise in CO2 level and the rise of global temperature, as you can see from this data which I obtained from the Vostok ice core, which was from the past 400,000 years. So where does this ice core data come from? So the ice sheet and glacier near the Earth's north and south pole form from years and years of accumulating snowfall. The weight of each of these years' snowfall compresses down the previous year of snow, and after many years, all of this pressure helped to form the glacial ice. So researchers, they drill this ice core from deep around a mile or 1.6 kilometer inside the polar ice sheets. So they collect this ice core from many locations around the Earth to study the climate variability. So thus you can see that CO2 is the main suspect of causing the global warming. So IPCC suggested that there will be a continued increase in greenhouse gases, particularly carbon emission, unless there is a major changes in the way we produce and use energy, particularly on how we manage carbon. So there is no single technology that will be able to address this climate change, but a sum of many initiatives may be a solution to at least slow down or to address this climate change. One way to manage carbon is by reducing our need on fossil fuel combustion and opt for renewable sources such as solar energy, wind power, and biomass fuel. There is a newest way to manage carbon, that is by capturing it, store it, and then convert it into some stable form. So this process is called as carbon sequestration. So there are different ways that carbon can be stored, or we can use the term sequestrated. So one way is in plants and soil. So that process is called as terrestrial sequestration. Another way is to store it deep underground. That process is called as geological sequestration. And another process is to store it deep in the ocean. And that process is called as ocean sequestration. Or it can be even stored as a solid material, a research which is still in development. So what is geological sequestration? So geological sequestration basically mainly involve three processes. The first process is to capture the carbon dioxide from industries or energy-related sources such as power plant, then transport this captured carbon dioxide and inject it into the deep rock formation for permanent or semi-permanent storage, as you can see in this picture. The CO2 being captured is then put into the geological formation with the help of injection well. This well is similar to an oil or water well, but unlike them, it is used for injecting CO2 rather than extracting the material such as oil or water. So now comes to ocean sequestration. Ocean represent the largest sink for atmospheric carbon dioxide. However, as more and more CO2 in the ocean surface has led to ocean acidification, which cause harmful effect to marine ecosystem and microorganisms. So ocean sequestration is therefore a method which is proposed to distribute the CO2 more evenly throughout the ocean depth so as to prevent or reduce the CO2 impact on just the ocean surface. So ocean sequestration involves two major methods. One is the direct injection of CO2 into the deep ocean, which is similar to the previous method called geological sequestration. And the other method is called ocean fertilization with the addition of iron to increase the growth of phytoplankton and the photosynthesis rate. So there is another process called terrestrial sequestration or soil carbon sequestration. So this process involves capturing and storing of carbon dioxide by plant and then store the carbon in the soil. So what happened, as you can see from this picture, the plant, they capture the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and use it in the process of photosynthesis. So during this process, the cell containing the chlorophyll, they convert the carbon from carbon dioxide into energy-rich organic molecules that can be stored in leaf, stem or roots of the plant. Once the tree dies or when the tree shed the leaf or seeds or when the tree drop their blossom, so this material is start decomposing. So during the process, a portion of the carbon is released back into the atmosphere while most of the carbon is sequestrated in the soil. So this process is called as a soil carbon sequestration. While this process, you can say, is a natural process and will keep on occurring, however, the role of human activity is to preserve the already sequestered carbon and to boost the carbon sequestration capacity of the land is very important in order to combat the global warming. Besides, it was found that if you add additional carbon to the soil, it will improve the soil fertility and all. So hence, this process, even though it's a natural process, we can actually enhance this process through our various activities. So in order to manage, harvest and protect our various landscape for soil carbon storage to help in combating the climate change, we need to understand the various factors that influence the soil carbon storage, known as SOC. Because even though this is a natural process, this process is a very complex, so we need to understand what is going on behind the process. We need to have a knowledge of how much and where carbon is stored, which areas store the most carbon, so that we can protect those landscapes. And since this method is it involves a lot of money and time consuming, so we need to develop some low cost method to quantify and estimate the spatial distribution of carbon storage. We also need to create awareness about this soil carbon storage. As I've said in the previous slide, that this method will not only help to capture the carbon from the atmosphere and store it in the soil, it will also help in increasing the soil porosity by allowing it to store enough water for plant growth. Thus, we can see that soil organic carbon, it forms the basic of soil health, fertility and production. So let us find innovative ways to improve the storage of carbon in soil, to enhance our resilience against the extreme events, to restore our soil fertility, and to provide us clean water, Besides, this method is a win-win situation in our fight towards the most challenging environmental issue of our time, the changing climate. Thank you.